Welcome to UT Arlington Library video on defining peer review. Defining and determining what exactly is peer review can initially seem like an overwhelming concept. Hopefully this video will help. First, we're going to talk about what different kinds of periodicals or serial publications exist, how you can tell the difference, which ones have articles that undergo the peer review process. We'll also define exactly what that is and why it's important. First, I'm going to talk about periodicals or serial publications. And in libraries, we use these as umbrella terms that can include any or all of the following. So newspapers, trade publications, journals, magazines. So the three major categories that you're going to run across while you're doing research are scholarly journals, trade or specialty publications, and popular magazines. So out of those three types of periodicals, only one is ever going to have peer-reviewed articles. Peer-reviewed articles are always in scholarly journals. So, having gone through all of these different kinds of periodicals, how do you tell which is which? There's certain questions you can keep in mind that will help you tell the difference. There's three major questions you want to keep in mind when you're looking at any kind of periodical or serial publication. Who is the author? Who is the editor? And who is the audience? So for scholarly articles, the authors will always be experts in their field. They'll be researchers, academics, professors. They'll have a lot of expertise on the topic that they're writing about. Popular authors will tend to be journalists, staff writers, freelancers, bloggers. They'll have a lot of experience in writing and in reporting, but not necessarily experience or expertise on the topic that they're writing about. So trade publications are directed at a particular trade, and that means a particular business or industry, and it's written by people in that business or industry. So if it's directed towards people in law enforcement, police officers will be mostly writing the articles, or people who are chefs. It'll be written mostly by chefs. So the editors or the editorial board of scholarly publications will also consist of researchers, experts, academics, and professors, people with expertise in the field. And so the editors of popular periodicals will have experience in journalism and in writing for their type of publication, whether it's a magazine or a newspaper, but they're not necessarily experts or practitioners in the topics or fields that they cover. So the editor of a trade publication is going to have extensive experience in writing about and in practicing that trade. So if it's directed towards video editors, they'll have experience both in the field of video editing as well as writing about it. Now the audience for scholarly publications will again be scholars and experts, the same scholars and experts that contribute to these journals as well as edit them, but additionally also college students. These are the types of publications your professors want you to use for research. And the audience for popular periodicals is anyone. It's the general public. These are the kind of magazines and newspapers you see at the grocery store, at bookstores, that people can pick up and read without having any background on the topic it's covering. Now, trade publications are targeted towards specific businesses or industries, so photography, comic books, cooking, teaching. These will be written by practitioners in a particular field and read by practitioners in the field. One last thing to keep in mind, sort of as a quick rule of thumb, is the issue of citations. Peer-reviewed scholarly articles will always have citations, so if you're not sure and you see that there's no citations, it was not a peer-reviewed scholarly article. So peer review basically means that the author and the person or persons reviewing the article have the same level of expertise. So when you do peer review in your class, it's pretty much student peer review. You are evaluating your peers' work. However, what you're looking for is scholarly peer reviewed, also sometimes called refereed. And so in this type of peer review, the people doing the writing and the people reviewing that writing are scholars, so they are experts. So the first step in the scholarly peer review process is that the author writes an article that they believe meets scholarly criteria. Then they send that article off to a journal in their field that uses the peer review process. Once the editor or the editorial board of the journal receives the article, they then send it off to be blind reviewed by other experts in the field. Blind reviewing just means that when they're reviewing the article, they don't know who wrote it, so that there's no bias. Once those scholars review the article, they'll send it back to the editor or the editorial board, and they'll either say, yes, it should be published as is, maybe it should be published if certain changes are made, or no, it should not be published. So why have the peer review process? There's a few reasons for this. One, this way the journal editors can make sure that the author meets the current standards of their discipline. It means that the articles they publish will meet scholarly criteria and that the findings are relevant and justified by analysis or research, not necessarily by the author's personal views. The main goal of scholarly publication and the reason for peer review is so that you publish material that has original research and advances scholarship in a particular discipline. So in this video, we've gone over the fact that there's three major kinds of periodicals or serial publications: popular, scholarly, and trade or specialty, and the fact that only scholarly publications will have articles that have undergone the peer review process, as well as the importance of the peer review process in making sure that material is academic and contributes original research. Thank you, and if you have any questions, please feel free to contact any of the librarians.